I'm now recording. Don't worry, guys. You're not being recorded. It's just me. Good man. Right. Okay. Lying on your side, guys. See if this is too narrow for you, Diane, you can go and do these on all fours, okay? But for the rest of us, I know that you guys have got space. You're going to lie on your side, hips are stacked, arms are out. For those who are familiar, if you want to stay with me, you are most welcome. If not, you can go at your own pace. We're going to try and close the hips, close the chest, rib cage down, take a breath, kick back like a donkey kick. Should feel that in your glute, okay? Start to lift the knee up towards the ceiling. Hold. Without bringing the knee forward, I want you to rotate. So you're going to bring the heel forwards. It's going to start getting a little bit spicy in here now. Once you've maxed that out, you're going to bring that knee up towards your armpit. Keep bringing it up towards your armpit and then drop it down to the floor. Donkey kick back again. Take a breath. Make sure that rib cage is down. Start to lift up. Hold. That's where it's in the old ass cheeks. Start to rotate. As you're rotating here, push the front knee down or down into the floor as if you've got 50 quid underneath. Start to bring it up towards the armpit. Pull with all the tissue on the inside and back down. Now that's normally, that's a bit slower than I normally go, but I want you to focus on these tissues, okay? So this time we go in the opposite direction. Forward fold. Now I want you to try and stick your bum out just a little bit, all right? Keep pulling up as you then lift up as if you were a dog pissing on a lamppost. Keep pulling in with this stuff. Keep opening up. Push down with that knee. Now we're going to start to rotate the foot towards the ceiling and the ankle towards the floor. Now, I do not have a huge amount of room here, so you're not going to see mine move too much. All right. Keep that on. Keep the rotation as you now kick backwards. Keep kicking. Squeeze. Keep kicking backwards as you lower down. Bring it through for a second rep. Okay. So close off that tissue here. Try not to curl with the spine. Bring the knee in towards the chest. Keep pulling it in as you open up towards the ceiling. Hold. Should be a little space in between your abs and the floor. That means that you know you're solid here. Keep opening as much as you can. Start to rotate the knee towards the floor, foot towards the ceiling. Once you max it out, keep rotating and kick back. Some of us are going to reach that quicker than others, even though I'm working on it every bloody day. Okay, other side, guys. Gotta make sure I don't kick this over. I've already spilt a vase today with my big ass. Right, on your side again, okay? Take a breath. Donkey kick back, rib cage closed, squeeze your bum, hold. Maybe even take a thumb back there, see if those glutes are on. Start to lift up towards the ceiling. Keep kicking back though. Without bringing the knee forward, start to rotate. Once that's maxed out, start to bring the knee up towards the armpit and then down towards the floor. Donkey kick back. Use that top hand to give you some balance. Squeeze, rib cage down. Try not to flare too much. Lift up towards the ceiling. Rotate. Up towards the armpit, back down. We go in the opposite direction. So you're going to bring the knee in towards the chest. Try not to change through the spine. Open up towards the ceiling, dog pissing on a lamppost. Hold. Try and max it out a little bit more. Start to rotate the knee towards the floor and the foot towards the ceiling. Keep that rotation as you kick back. And back down. Okay. I lost a little bit of shape there, so I'm going to try and keep my side up. So here, up, open, rotate, donkey kick, and back down. Okay, sitting on your bum, you're going to pull one leg straight, pull the one leg in, underneath the outside arm, grab the bicep over the top, okay? If you can't do that for whatever reason, just hold either side. We want to move this bony process here, the tibia. So we're going to go external rotation. What should happen here is you should feel hamstrings working and this bone there, your heel and your big toe should all move together. What you might find is that there's a bit of slack that the foot moves and then the knee catches up. It's not wrong, okay, but it's not what we want. So we go external rotation as much as you can. Bring them back at the same time, through the middle. You see I've run out of room there. And then back the other way. Okay, stay this side. Start to lift up now. Now we go ankle. So we're going to evert out to the side. Keep everting your ankle out as you come through pointed. Ballerina toes, keep pointing. As you used to go to inverted now. Keep inverting. You might get a bit of cramping here as we go all the way through. Okay, back the other way. Keep that pointing, almost like you're rolling the foot. And in an ideal world, that should feel like a smooth circle. One more circle the other way. For some of you, it might look like a square. The way we do these, whether it be in the morning to say hello to your body, whether it's in the evening, down regulate, or if it's to prep for training. First thing is to maximize range of movement that you currently have. So me trying to get as far out to the side as possible. Then the second reason is to try and control that range better. So if I'm doing this and then my foot's going and then my knee, that's poor control. So by practicing outside and inside, I can get better function of the end range or the range that I've got. And the third thing is you can use it as an assessment tool. So if I've, for whatever reason, I did a 6-hour car journey up to Scotland or something, that would feel very different to the day before when I was loose as a goose doing Bikram yoga. All right, lifting up, eversion all the way through, inversion, back, one more, okay, point your toes, legs straight, pull your legs in or bend your knees, and you stop at the point at which your feet are flat on the floor, no more. So you don't come all the way in. As soon as you've got your ball of your foot is down on the floor, your heels down, and say the pad underneath your little toes is down, that's the point at which you stop. Which will feel quite difficult to keep your feet on the floor, okay? From there, you're gonna try and lift all your toes off the floor. That's too far for me. All toes up, all toes down. Big toes down, little toes up. Ooh. Down. Little toes down, big toes up. And then all toes up again. And then try and spread your toes so you put your little toe down, so it's almost like you're on a piano. Okay. Same again, all toes up. All toes down. Big toes down, little toes up. If you can't do this, there are ways to improve your intrinsic foot strength, okay? Because your feet are the hands of the lower body. The reason you can't move them is because they're always in shoes, for a start. It would be like putting a kid in mittens and then after, I don't know, however old you are now, taking those mittens off and go and play the piano. You'd be like, that's why everybody's feet are rubbish. All right, okay, so the guys who have been here before, you guys have been doing some homework, internal hip rotation. And the position I asked you to play around with was sat back, crossed over, and allowing the weight of the top leg to pull the outside leg down into the floor, okay? So for those who are new to this, the sensation we want, and the reason we're doing it here instead of in this position, is to try and bypass some of the tightness in this position, in this area. Now, the homework I gave everybody was to sit hands behind, okay? And then to cross the leg and allow the weight of the top leg to pull the leg that you're stretching down to the floor. Now the sensation should be underneath, okay? Now if you take your hand, you can actually feel that bony process underneath. And if you can't feel it in that position, you will be able to feel it in this position, all right? And it's a very distinct sensation. It's not like when you stretch your hamstrings where it feels like you're pulling the skin or it feels kind of hot. This is more like an ache. I liken it to toothache, but I mean, toothache's horrendous. But the kind of sensation, all right? And if you can't find it, then maybe you need to just change your position ever so slightly, which might mean that you need to come down a little bit more, or maybe you can find it from there. And if you can, bully for you, all right? But this, just to stay with the homework, guys, okay? So underneath, how do I know, or how can I try and maneuver my body so that I'm trying to find that stretch a bit better? So if I allow my full weight of my leg, it kind of pulls me all the way here, all right? So if I pull in the other, if I try and tip my torso in the opposite direction to the direction that my leg is traveling, and think about getting a bit longer, I can then affect that stretch underneath, okay? Don't worry if you haven't got it, but let's stay with this right now. Another couple of deep breaths. Now, this is, for those people who are new, this is what happens sometimes. I get you guys into a position, and then I start waffling on. That is for you to just passively stretch, okay? Hopefully it should feel like it's right at the top of the hamstring, maybe even in the hip itself. All right, you can then start to maneuver your body against the twist. Okay, so you're going to stay there for a little bit more. I'll explain what I mean. So we're trying to get into the hip capsule, and that isn't long lines of tissue. Imagine the two joints, the two bones here, and then it's the stuff that sort of goes over. So if I give you an idea of a capsule, imagine it's meshed, and as you rotate, it's doing this. It's not getting longer like that. That's why it's such a weird feeling, I think. It twists one way. So if you twist your leg going down, that affects that way. And then if you rotate your body in the opposite direction, that one goes the other way. And that's how you can kind of maneuver yourself around the joint rather than moving the joint around your body, if that makes sense. Now, you've been there for a while. So we're going to do now one long pails and rails, okay? So I explained this earlier to some people. For you guys, we now need to know which direction each one is. So the pails is going to be trying to push against the top leg as if you were doing that, okay? However, because it's not just opening, I actually want you to imagine that the femur itself is rotating like a rotisserie skewer. So it would be very easy just to throw your leg out. Actually, what I want it to do is that, okay? Now, the way we're going to do that is through using the volume control. So when I say so, you're going to get 10 seconds to try and build it up to a reasonable tension, somewhere between 60% of your, 60 and 80% of your max, and then you're going to hold it there until I say, it's about 30 seconds, okay? So you're using the weight of the top leg. You push your hands into the floor, take a deep breath. Start to try and externally rotate the femur. What that will feel like, or maybe a good cue, is to imagine that you were pushing your foot down into the floor, this one, and then your bottom knee as if you were trying to push it out. That should increase the stretch on the stuff on the underside, except now you're not just doing it passively, you're loading that tissue actively. You should be at sort of 60% of your max now. Try and squeeze your abs. Keep pushing. Keep holding it there. 5, 4. For those people who know what's coming, you can go into your rails contraction now. Rails contraction, for those who don't know, is trying to actively pull your leg down deeper. So you can leave the weight on, or you can take it off, but you're trying to pull down lower. That means that your femur is rotating in towards the middle, or as I've said before, it might feel like you're trying to lift your foot off the floor, okay? In order to do that, you're going to have to use all of this stuff in here. Keep it there, keep trying to rotate your foot off the floor, and at the same time you can twist against it. No pain on the closing side, should all be on the outside here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax, and we're going to go into an exercise now whereby you lie on your back. I'm going to do it face on. You're using the same leg, okay? Lie on your back, come up to 90 degrees, okay? And we're going to go internal rotation, sorry, so that's external, and then go to the outside and try and take your foot as wide as you can. What that looks like from the side is here, 90 degrees, that's not going to change. I go, imagine I'm staked into the floor, I'm going to go external rotation, and then try and go internal rotation by taking my foot out to the side as much as I can. Okay. Common compensations that you guys can just carry on for now is trying to move your hips too much. So I only want the femur moving. All right. And this is going to be a maximum. Okay. So you've had a little practice now. Now we're going to do for 3 reps as hard as you can. So start to go. Foot in towards the middle. Keep going. Squeeze. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Release. Go through the middle to the outside now. Imagine you're screwing the femur into the hip. It should start to bite in the outside. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Back through the middle. In again. Hold. 3, 2, 1. When I say hold, I mean try and get to your end range. If you haven't got there by the time I call it, just keep trying to push to end range. Foot to the outside again. Abs tight. Hold it there. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back. Don't change your position. I'll just do one from the side. Big breath. Inside. Back through the middle. Nothing should change through that hip. And 3, 2, 1. And relax. Okay. Straight in to the other side. Hold. All right. It might be different from one side to the next. You might have one hip that, well, most people have differences in hips. For those who are getting some success in this position, try to lower down a little bit more and see if you can affect yourself maybe from here instead. And if you can get the same stretch, great. All right, because intention is better than position. For me, I can get the stretch exactly where I want it in this position, so I don't have to go to here. All right, for the sake of those people who haven't done it before, we're going to go from here today. All right, but like I said, if you find that on the day you can really concentrate and you're like, I can keep that stretch, all of a sudden we're working towards 90-90, and the internet says that that's better. So, but not for us. Here we are. Keep a couple deep breaths because I was waffling on the other side. Okay, so how do you intensify the stretch without just trying to really ram your leg down? Well, twist in the opposite direction. So the knees going down towards the middle. Try and take your hips the opposite direction. It might not look like you've moved at all. All right. In fact, sometimes when I move, I'm not really moving my torso. I'm just moving my head. That's an illusion. But if I move my torso now, I just moved it and you wouldn't have seen. Okay. But imagine trying to get this bum cheek closer to the floor. Here we go. Push the arms into the floor. Take a big breath. Start to externally rotate, which means go to the outside here, pushing against the resistance of the top leg. 10 seconds to build it up to where you think you can then hold it. Okay. If you were to remove your leg from the top, your leg should do that. All right. This is no longer passive. Keep building if you haven't got to a good tension yet. If not, if you are already there, hold it. Imagine that femur rotating to the outside, not just the whole leg moving like an opening book, but the actual rotisserie chickenness. All the while trying to maintain the stretch that you worked hard to breathe into underneath. Keep it there. 5, 4, 3, quick as a flash. Start to rotate down towards the floor. Now the top leg can stay on top. Okay. Just to make sure you're working at end range. What this feels like now is that you're trying to lift that foot off the floor. It's not going to come off the floor because you're too deep into the stretch. But in order to do that, you're going to have to activate through this muscle, okay, or these muscles. Keep trying to lift that foot off the floor. Abs nice and tight. Think about the femur rotating now towards the middle. Hold it there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly relax. onto your back, and immediately into 5 repetitions of back in the lounge, not on the decking. Here we go. Drive the other leg down to the floor. Keep it at 90 degrees. Big breath. Rotate in. Should be pretty spicy where you just stretched as you go inwards. Back through the middle. Keep that lower back into the floor. Out to the outside. Back into the middle. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Shouldn't be slowing your hips here. There should be a rotation just of the femur. Okay, straight through the floor. Back to the outside. Wind it up here. Wind it up. Get it to bite. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Just like we do with pails and rails, try and bring these on like a dial. If you go too big, you'll do something cheating. Okay, rotate towards the inside. Keep rotating. Think about rotating. Hold. 4, 3, 2. Back through. Other side. Outside. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. So now we will go to 90-90. Everybody can go to 90-90. So go back to the other side. Oh God, this is what happens when your watch runs out of battery. Okay, I got time. Right, okay. If you do have a yoga block, once you're in 90-90 and you're fairly comfortable, you can put a yoga block in front of the back knee, okay? If you're not comfortable in this position, up nice and tall, okay, you may need to lean forward a little bit, maintain a nice flat back. If that, I haven't told you what you're going to do yet, but if that doesn't work, you might need to lean forward and come out to the side, in which case you'd be taking the kickstand and you'd be leaning out to the side. I want you to be able to feel like you can lift the back foot off the floor. The way that you're going to do that is using those muscles that we just kind of got into there, here, like a fishing reel. You wind it up and this foot should get lighter and lighter, okay? If you're at your end range here, it's not going to happen. So in order for me to get out of end range, sometimes I need to lean forward a little bit or I have to come out to the side. So you might see me do that. What I don't want you to do is if you can lift it too high, you've had too much of a running jump. So instead of, you can't move the leg, so you move back, that makes it harder, and then you'll notice I can barely lift it up at all. So move your body so that you can only get it off no more than a stack of cards. This here is a guide to let you know whether you cheated and threw your body at it, okay? Here we go, 10 repetitions. Push your hands into the floor, take a big breath. Here, and try and lift the foot at the back. Oh God. Hold, down, okay? Try not to use momentum. And ready, and lift. And down. Lift. Down. Think about these muscles. If you can't move it, don't worry. This is where you need to be thinking about. Wind it up and lift. Relax. And lift. And lift. If you get some cramping, don't worry about that. And lift. Well, you'll always just have to stop. And last one, lift. Just the last thing, on all fours, this side. We would normally do these lying on our sides. I want you to do a hip car, so that's in, up, rotate, okay? I just want you to do it with more intensity than you would be at the beginning, all right? So in your own time, you're going to explore all the way in. Make sure that you can get all the way up. Rotate, that's the bit you just trained. Donkey kick towards the ceiling. And then round, okay? If you can do that all with a proverbial pint balancing on your back, absolutely fantastic. If you are compensating a little bit, that's fine. I'll take a little bit of rotation through the torso. What I don't want is too much bending through the elbows, okay? So soft elbows to a degree, donkey kick up towards the ceiling, squeeze. Make sure you've maxed it out. Rotate first, bring it over the gate, and down. Okay, other side, other leg. Trying to do what we call, these are called passive range lift-offs. Now you'll see on this side, I'll show you. On my other side, my good hip, I'm pretty upright here. So in order to get this one off, I have to be out here and I have to be forward. But you shouldn't worry about that because it's not about me, all right? Your intention is better than my position. So from here, block if you have one. 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. Take a big breath. Pack air down. Wind it up and try and lift that foot off the back. You see I'm going to have to lean forward a little bit and lift. 1. Lift. 2. You can see I'm also holding my leg here and I'm trying to pull against it a little bit to create a little bit more anchorage. Those people who are really strong and in here might be able to do it with no anchor. All right, try and sit tall. Ready? And 4. Lift. If you need to adjust between reps because you can feel yourself getting weaker, go to the side. That's also fine. Think about these again and rotate and lift. Down. 3 more and lift. 2 more and lift. You can see that I'm really trying to, almost going to knock that over, cheating a bit. Brace and lift. And relax. Okay, same thing. Into your car. If you do have a tennis ball, then you could squeeze that in. That would create more tension. Okay, you can squeeze that into the back of your leg. Not essential. Or, I mean, I could use that yoga block and I could squeeze that. It's just to create a little bit more tension in towards the armpit. Don't change the spine. Don't piss on a lamppost. Oh, rotate foot towards ceiling. This is the bit we just trained. So make sure you're at your end range. Max out the rotation. Donkey kick up and through. Whoa, sweating. And up towards the ceiling. This is where we try and take it into the back a little bit, certainly for me. This is something I've been working on. Hip extension, rotate, over the gate, keep it as high as you can. And then down. Okie dokie. Well done. Oh, if none of that made sense and you want to talk about it at the end, by all means. It's hot in here. Okay, guys, frogger position. I'll do it from a couple. Knees wider than the hips, big toes into the floor. All right. This will probably be more helpful for you guys. If you need a little bit more padding under the knee, pillow, cushion, beer mats, towels, nice and wide as you can go. In an ideal world, your foot would be flat. If you can't, because of whatever reason you're restricted, that's fine. But if you can, find a position where your ankles are down and your feet are down, as well as in this position, much better. Okay, we've now moved away from the joint capsule and now we're into tissues that are crossing that joint. You may be comfortable, or say comfortable, be able to tolerate here. If you want, you can also just check this out. Just makes it different, doesn't make it right or wrong. Okay, once you feel like you're getting a stretch across these tissues, you then got to try and figure out which tissues, because it's not just one thing. Even that adductor is made up of many, many different fibers. So tilting your pelvis slightly will change it. Tucking it under will change it. Sitting back more will change it again, or sitting forward will change it again. Any one day, go to the buffet, all right? If you were doing multiple reps of pails and rails, you might have an opportunity to do multiple positions. Explore now while I'm waffling on and just find something that you're like, yeah, okay, I can work that. Then I can talk about, you then just settle into your breathing. 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. If you've never taken a breath that big, just take a big breath instead, okay? Just try to relax. So tails and rails, this is not a rotational thing, okay? This is now just linear, so we are trying to just pull together and push apart. You could do rotational work from here. It probably wouldn't look any different, but your intention up here and the sensation in your hip would be different, okay? So what we're doing on this one is equally pushing between your ankle and your knee. Tails contraction, trying to close your legs together. Now you're not going to move. If you do move a little bit, then okay, you've got a slidey carpet. Try not to though, all right? And just try and stress those tissues that are on stretch. Your rails contraction, which we will switch to immediately and dial up, is to try and drive your legs apart, even wider, okay? Some of you will just feel that on the inside, but if you can do it with your ass, more is the better, okay? I've been waffling on. Here we go. One tails contraction, push equally through your knees and ankles into the floor. 10 seconds to try and build it up to where you can hold now for 30. Keep pushing. Make sure that as you bring on the tension more, you should be holding it at this tension now, but if it starts to release, try to affect your body. Move your body to a position where you can find those tissues again, even though we're actively squeezing in. Keep pushing in. 10 seconds, keep pushing in. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now drive them apart. You might slip in a little bit deeper. Okay, that's fine. Try and drive out. Try and use these muscles on the outside. Hold. It's going to be pretty intense in the groin, but that's okay. All the muscles on the outside of this joint, all of this stuff, let's try and get those working. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, not the easiest one in the world to get in from. Okay, just like with the other ones. You've stretched into a bit of range, okay? For some people, tails and rails is enough, okay? And certainly when I start with people individually, if they've never had experience with this, we might just do that. They certainly wouldn't be holding them for a long time. You can just try and build up time under tension, sets and reps for all your other things that you do in the gym, okay? And you could do, I don't know, 3 sets of 10 seconds. That would give you a total of 30, or you could do 10 sets of 3. And if people can't get anywhere near 30, you just start make a note and build them up, okay? Once, if, and also in a class environment, we just make the assumption that people aren't that tired after doing this, so we will now try and do some of the lifts that we did, but just for this tissue rather than the rotational stuff. So, lying down on the floor in the prone position, okay? For those people who have yoga blocks, it may be of use to you. The position is going to be, let me do it from this angle first. So face down, and then leave one leg straight, and then cock the other one up to sort of 90 degrees, okay? Ideally, you want both hip bones facing the floor, okay? From here, we're going to take a big breath, squeeze the bum, and try and lift the knee and the ankle off the floor together. So from this angle, this looks like this. 2, 1, relax. If you are getting lots of lift, either you've rolled or you've got very flexible hips, in which case you need to go into a deeper start position. So put your foot or your knee on the block, and then that will be harder. If that's still really hard, I doubt it. Many people are going to get to here, but you could build it up in theory, up and up and up and up and up. Okay, take a big breath. In fact, everybody just give me a thumbs up if you knew what I'm talking about here. Perfect. Okay, take a breath. Number 1, if I get a bit fuzzy here, it's because these systems are short. And brace your abs, squeeze the bum on the other leg, push your arms into the floor and lift. Hold. 2, 1, relax. and breath. Lift. 2, 1, relax. Now, if your leg is coming off the floor immediately, like a gun, you're not doing the ramp. I want the ramp, and it should feel like your leg is floating. All right. There's a huge amount of work that has to go on through the middle in order for that to happen, and you need to get all that set. If you go too quick, we'll just keep. So build it up slowly. Ready? And squeeze the bum, abs tight. Lift when you're ready. 2, 1, relax. And ready. Squeeze everything else and lift. One more and lift. When is this useful, Matt? Well, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing in your daily life. If you're just sat at a desk, this is probably too much. If you want to do anything other than sit down at a desk, might I suggest this would be useful for, I don't know, climbing. I'm on the wall. I've got to get this leg up to something that's here, and I need to adduct, get my leg up. All right? There you go. We're all climbers. Big breath. Squeeze, both hips facing down forwards, and hover when you're ready. 2, 1, relax. Play around with your hand position just to see if you can make it harder or easier if you need. And lift when you're ready. Squeeze the bum cheek on the other leg. Down. I'm cheating. And lift when you're ready. Down. Ready. And down. One more. Big breath. Squeeze your abs. Lift. Oh my Christ. Oh. Is that the only way to do that exercise? Absolutely not. You could do it something like this. If you had the equipment, you could be on all fours, okay, cop the leg onto the sofa. As long as it was at a height that when you lifted, you didn't have that huge run up, okay? So like doing it from here would be too easy. We need to take you to your end range and then get you to lift from there. How could I do that from an all fours position if I had none of this equipment, or I don't know, if you were a slightly, I'd have to, so whatever reason, it didn't have to be female, but if you couldn't lie on your front because it was uncomfortable, just go from a wider position instead of just all fours underneath. Too easy, okay? Just do it from a wider position, brace, and then, oh God, that's too hard for me, but I would lift from there, okay? It's not the position, it's the intention. What we were trying to do is affect that bit that we just stretched in an active way. That was just a way that I picked, okay? Okay, last, yeah, perfect. Absolutely smashing this. Okay, back into the frog position, and now we're gonna tie in the first thing, or not the first thing, but yeah, internal rotation of the hip and the position from the frog position. Fair warning, guys, this sucks, okay? If you can't lift your foot, don't worry. Mind's eye in there, rotation. We just did leg lifts from here, same thing as in internal rotation, but I'm gonna get you, instead of just having one leg stretched in this tissue, you're gonna do it from this position, okay? So pick the pick the spot that you were in for the pushing and the pulling, or the pails and rails, okay? Now, just like with everything else, I don't want your foot coming up miles and miles, all right? If you've just got loads of room, all right, and you just need to know that next time you do this, you would prop your foot up. So if you are getting miles, it's right at the end, don't worry. But yeah, about a stack of cards again would be great. The way you can make that harder is just go wider through the groin. But we're going to take a big breath. You push. I'm going to lift my right leg first, okay? So I'm going to push my other leg down into the floor. I'm going to think about those muscles that are going to help me rotate, and I'm going to try and get it so that my foot hovers off the floor without too much working through here. Okay, so big breath. And yeah, everybody do the right side. So push the left leg down into the floor. Big breath, abs tight, and try and lift the other leg. And place it down very slowly. Other side, push the right leg down into the floor. Left leg lift, and place it down. Here we go, 8 to go. And push, lift. If this is uncomfortable on your knees, I'm sorry. It's not the best on my knees on this wooden floor. Other side, and lift. The gathering up of the muscle, or the stuff that you need in order to do this, should start from the inside out. So it should be starting up in the hip rather than just at the foot. So if it's not, try and think about initiating in the hip. 6 to go, ready, and lift. Place down. Other side, push and lift. If you haven't, focus these next two on your abs and see if that enables you to create more stability to get them higher. Ready, and lift. Down. And other side, lift. Two to go, and lift. And lift. Okay. I don't know whether it's a good thing to have an instructor that struggles so much with it. Would it be better if I could just fold myself into a tennis racket, or would it be discouraging? I don't know. Okay, find a position, lie down, and just take, I don't know, 5 deep, deep, deep breaths, okay? Try and do it nasally. If you want to lie down on your back, that's absolutely fine. If you ever finish a session with a position that is particularly difficult, all right, do try and down regulate at the end, all right? There is a point to this. You don't want to finish all jacked up, all right? 10 decent breaths could be the best breaths you've taken all day. I've been listening to a lot about breathing. That's going to be the new thing that people are going to start getting their proverbial bits out on the internet. Obviously breathing is important, but a lot of people are breathing very shallow through their mouth all the time. Try to find some more time where you can actually breathe and think about your breathing. Now seems like a good time. 3 more, as much as you can take in, and then just sort of reflexively out. You don't need to fully exhale. Reflexively in. Sorry, maximally in and then reflexively out. Okie dokie. Just have a seat, guys. That is probably the best timed one I've done for 45 minutes. Didn't feel like that was too much of a rush. Obviously, there were some people here that haven't been here before. Like I said, don't worry if you felt like a bit of a melon and you were like, I just don't get it. It's about your body. You will download some of that stuff with a good night's sleep, and the next time you practice it, this is a good time to start doing stuff with us because I've just started dishing out homework. Okay, so the homework for this week is similar to what it was last week, which is that internal rotation stretch. The first time I gave it to you was just to try and find that stretch every day and then not do anything. Last week was to do the pails and rails. This week it is to find the stretch and then see if you can alter the position. So you might start with this one and then be like, okay, I've navigated my way to where it is. Can I find it in a different position? All right. You may have to learn how to breathe past some of this tension up here. Okay. And because you should be a bit more of a ninja at finding this, then you can do the pails and rails once, and then the capsular stuff. Okay. So Sunday session will be shoulders. But by the time I next see you, I want you to have at least tried that every other day. Okay, it's pretty easy to do when you're sat there watching TV. Get into the stretch, try and do it in a slightly different position. Pails and rails, then the hinge, then you're done. All right, that's the homework. The rest of it, we will do a slightly different version of that next week and for the subsequent 3 weeks, so that we feel like we're sort of getting better at that stuff rather than just jumping around. Okay, any questions? Namaste. I'm going to eat and then I'm going to watch The Last Boy Scout because it's shit film Tuesdays.
Yes.
Okay, see you later, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for reminding me about the recording. Yes, you absolutely nailed it.
Thank you, Matt.
See you later, man. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Fee, great to see you. All right?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
My hips are really tight.
Yeah, fine. Don't worry about it. So am mine. I find that really, really hard.
Yeah,
really
that
hard
was
for me.
proper hard.
And you know, I've been doing the classes now for, I don't know, 14 weeks. And what I've realized is that it has led me to be more cute. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, but what I have never done is just actually done what my personal practice is not reflective of what I do in the class. The class is a class. It's not a perfect thing. But because I was doing it and I was investing more time, I wanted to be better at the class. So I had to solve some of the problems. So I went and got myself a guy to teach me or to tell me what to do, which is, you know, what that's like. And sometimes you just need somebody just to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And so I spend a lot of time doing that internal rotation stretch. I'm doing it pretty much every other day. I feel like I'm getting better at doing it. So the next thing is to just actually see some progress, but it can be slow. All right.
Yeah.
But if you want to try and feel what an upper body session feels like, then you're more than welcome to come. There's obviously no sign up at the moment. You just drop in and out. All right. Cool. I've added you to the list.
Thank you ever so much.
I'll speak to you soon.
Enjoy your movie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.